Construction insight. Earthquake trend does have relevance. So you should be aware that with construction projects being of relevance, knowing the earthquake trend is significant for stability of the project overall. When we consider using Jamaica as examples, the recent statements of Prime Minister Andrew Holness indicating the relocation of Black River Town, as well as the bypass road that is being constructed in Portland and even in sections of Hanover. These projects, construction projects, require site assessment, and these projects similarly will require a deeper insight as regards to the geotechnics of the land. With this being said, knowing the earthquake trend specific where it comes to how the project will interact with the land is significant for construction to be, let's say, done in a stronger manner. So consider this video as just a brief in terms of how we may go about doing so. Now, using Google as reference, fault trend or earthquake trend encompass two distinct perspectives. One is the geologic/geotechnical fault perspective, and the other is the project-related fault perspective. My focus is on the geologic/geotechnical fault perspective. So in the context of the geologic fault perspective, we have to take into consideration safety and hazard mitigation, identifying active faults, which is essential for locating buildings, dams, pipelines, and bridges to avoid surface rupture and seismic damage. Similarly, we can have tunnel stability. Fault zones often have high permeability, acting as conduits for water, which poses significant risk during tunnel excavation. Surface rupture. Active faults can cause surface rupture, which creates permanent displacement and cause severe damage to structures directly on the fault line. Construction codes in active areas often requires a respect distance or setback zone. Say for example, 15 meters, 20 meters zone of no building in respect to where the fault trace or fault line is located. Structural design requirements. Near fault regions experience strong sun velocity pulses that generate higher seismic demands on structures compared to far field events. So buildings in these areas must have high ductility capabilities or capacities such as reinforced concrete, etc. Foundation integrity. Fault zones often have weak, broken materials that increase the risk of ground failure. Proper site investigation can identify these areas and guide the use of special foundation techniques. Soil liquefaction and landslides. Fault lines are often associated with saturated loose soil, and this may undergo liquefaction during a quake, causing the ground to lose strength. Mapping that trends faults can help in identifying areas prone to liquefaction and landslides, which in turn necessitates deeper foundations and/or soil stabilization. So with all this being highlighted, some key takeaways is that in the context of the construction plans, that is, the fault trace or knowing where faults can trend is significant in terms of site specificity, knowing the parameters in terms of how to go about the construction itself. And this is specific to how the fault aligns based on the nature of the fault itself, in terms of the length, in terms of, let's just say, displacement, direction, the displacement width, and even history of displacement are some of those critical points that can assist or can be benefited when it comes to doing this whole work around knowing the fault trace itself. Similarly, this work can strengthen regulation, which in turn can go forward with ensuring that the way that the construction is implemented within different zones across parishes in Jamaica, as an example, that can be further enhanced, and thus it overall can ensure that there's a degree of a consistency in terms of the level that is employed where it comes to the construction plans itself. And then we can also look at it within the context of, accommodation or abandonment. The nature of the fault trends themselves or the fault trace can go forward with allowing the necessary project planners to make the decision whether or not to move forward with the plans of the project or to abandon that project specific to the location or what it could be the location requirements in terms of budget, etc. So ensuring that we have that insight as regards to the fault trace slash the fault trend can go a significant way in ensuring that where it comes to Jamaica rebuilding stronger, it can really be an actuality instead of just a theory.